All right, welcome to another episode of the Ask Swenk Show. This is episode 45, and on today's episode, we're going to discuss how do you get referrals from your clients, should your employees be allowed to freelance on the side, and how do you build your following using video marketing.
I'm Jason Swenk, and I'm answering your questions. And this is Ask Swenk.
Now, before we jump into this episode, I want to talk to you and give you a special invite to the Agency Elite. And I'm real excited about the Agency Elite because it's not like anything else out there. There are a lot of groups and networks out there that are for entrepreneurs and business owners of all different kinds of industries. But there's not one focused on agency owners in order to really scale up your agency to the next level. These are agency owners anywhere from $500,000 in revenue all the way up to about $7 million. And we're meeting the day before major marketing conferences where we're meeting live and where you can network and really tap into other people's experience, including myself and my business partner, Ian's, on the Agency Elite. And so if you really felt like you've hit that plateau and you want to work with other agency owners, make sure you go to jasonswenk.com/agency elite. All right, that's jasonswenk.com/agency elite. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the episode. So Ramzi, I think I pronounced that right. Man, you guys have awesome names that I'm having such a hard time pronouncing. I was wondering if you have any great strategies to get referrals from your current clients. Well, you know, at the end of the day, to get great referrals is to do great work. But you have to kind of build a system for that. One of the systems that I've built is called this Net Promoter Score, NPS. And so what happens after about 2 months of being a client with mine, or if you buy the playbook or the Generate Leads program or anything from me, you'll get a simple survey. And it basically sends out to them, put in their name, put in a radio button, and it basically says, rate me on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being the best. And so what happens if they answer 10 through an 8 should be an excellent, right? They're a promoter. So they're going to tell other people about you. And so immediately if they answer that, I send them, hey, thanks very much. I'm glad you had an incredible experience. Let me know if you have any other people like you, because I love working with people like you, that you feel that I could help, right? And I've got a lot of referrals that way. If they're like a 7 through a 5, it's average, right? And so I'll have an email automation that goes out to them and say, hey, you know, thanks for filling out the survey. What could we do to take a good experience and make it awesome? And then if it's below that, it immediately creates a task for us to call and follow up. Thank God we haven't had to do that yet. But we've had some good ones, right? And so there's always certain reasons. And so you want to kind of do that. The other thing is when clients have, like, they call you up and they're ecstatic about the results they're getting, right? It's a great opportunity to upsell them on something else and say, you know, hey, if you like these results, you know, I've been thinking about your business and I really think we could kind of take it up a notch. What do you think about this? And then the other thing is obviously asking for that referral and say, great, I'm glad, you know, we love working with you as well. We're so glad you're getting results. If you know of any other people like you that we can actually help, you know, let us know. And then that's how we would get referrals. But that's kind of the system that we had in place. And then I trained my project managers in order to, when they had good experiences, to, you know, kind of ask for the referral. But you have to ask for it in most cases. All right. Second question. Myles asked, should I let my full-time staff freelance on their own time? If so, what measures do I need to put in place to protect myself and my business? So it's a great question, and there's a lot of debate back and forth. And I've flip-flopped over the years about this. In the very beginning, I actually told my graphic designers and web designers that they can't freelance on the side. But what I found out is they're going to do it anyway on their own time and use their own equipment. And, you know, a lot of them were doing that just to make more money because at the time we didn't pay them a huge amount, right? we paid them what we could afford, but we wanted to keep their great talent during the day. And so we actually started changing it and say, we're not going to keep them based on price alone. We're going to create this amazing culture and give them the freedom to do what they want. So what we basically said is, look, don't use any of our equipment, don't use any of our stock footage, film, video, images, sound, anything, and do it on your own time. We don't care what you do as long as you're not competing with us. And we're working with our direct competition. That was more about it, right? Because at that time we were at a certain level as if a company is going to go to a freelancer, we're not going to be pitching after the same deal. And so we could actually do that. And so we weren't worried about that, but we did have a clause in there saying you cannot freelance with our major competition, and we listed that out. And that's what I would probably suggest. So it's kind of like a hybrid model, but if it was like doing a website or logo for a mom and pop work down the road or a mom and pop shop down the road, we had no problems with that. And it kept them fresh. We were doing a lot of around the same specialization, so we wanted them to, be able to experience other things as well. And at the end of the day, our core value, our employees was our number one asset. And my job as a CEO and one of the owners was to make sure I better them in whatever it is. Now, a lot of you think, well, if they keep getting more and more work, they'll go create their own agency. In fact, that may be true. And if they want to do that, you should actually help them go do that. And I know that sounds like, but I'm going to lose my employee. You're going to attract so many more people because you're a stepping stone. And you should always be recruiting just like you're always selling. All right, Blake asked, I'm a big fan of your content. Awesome, glad I could help. I own a 6-man agency and we're going through the process right now. We're trying to build our following with video marketing, but it's just tough getting started. Any advice you would share would be appreciated. So, Blake, the best thing I can tell you is to be yourself. It's going to take you a while in order to find the company voice or your voice. I've been doing this for 2 years now, and I finally feel comfortable on video. And, I was trying to break it down. I was like, well, is it because I'm crazy and I just pretend there's people here watching, like through this little hole? And I think that's part of it. But at the end of the day, you're going to see so many videos out there, right? You got my videos, you got Gary's videos, you got everybody else's. And there's certain styles that you like. And so you should look at that, but then adapt your own style to it. And at the end of the day, all of your content should not be to try to position to sell something all the time. It should literally be able to stand on its own and be able to help that person. And so the hardest thing for agency owners to really kind of get a grasp is giving away their best advice for free. And I'm not saying like meet with the prospect and give the best advice away. It's more of doing that over video, and video is so powerful. So case in point, in the United States, Best Buy is a huge brand, right? They have Geek Squad, which fixes computers. When someone has problems with their computer, they have a virus, it crashes, they'll get on someone else's computer and look up on YouTube and say, how do I get this virus off my computer? And most of the time the Geek Squad will come up and they're showing you actually how to get it off. Now after you go through that, then they're like, man, I don't want to go through all these steps. Why don't I just take the computer down to Best Buy and have the Geek Squad fix it out? The case in point is people are lazy. So give away the best stuff to them that they can know how to do it, but they're going to want you to go implement because they're freaking lazy. The other thing that you need to concentrate on is see about how you can kind of switch it up and be entertaining sometimes. Now, I'm not just saying come out with jokes and all that kind of stuff. You got to be you, right? If you're dry, be dry. If you're funny, be funny. But, one of the core things that we're trying to do is educate and entertain at the same time. It's kind of why I always do goofy stuff, or I'll have the cat video on my homepage, or I'm interviewing Darth Vader or whatever it is. I'm trying to stand out and be unique, be myself, use my creativity in order to do that. but then also educate. So it's not just the typical kind of classroom setting that you know I hated, right? I was a horrible student. I mean, I was just really, really bad. So you know, those are a couple things that I would do, and then be consistent, right? And also the other thing is in the very beginning, like, you know how I start off this show, I'm like, hey, you know, welcome to the new episode of this Ask Swenk show. Today's episode, we're going to chat about X, Y, and Z. You want to kind of hook them in and let them know what they're going to discover on the video. And a lot of times too, create short bits of content. You know, what I do with the full version of the Ask Swenk show, it goes out full version, like the 3 questions, but then we actually slice that stuff up in micro content. So each question gets its own episode, which those actually get more reach and more visibility and more shareability because they're really, really quick, so they don't have to go through all the other stuff. So consistency, find your own terms or find your own voice, right? And then help. And you know, that's really it, man. You know, it's and be patient. I think patience is a really big thing, because you'll put out a video and you'll see 10 people, or you'll have 100 subscribers and be like, what's going on? You know, I saw this thing, Matthew McConaughey, I think everybody knows who he is. I saw an article, I think in something, it said Matthew McConaughey had a YouTube channel for 2 years. He still does. And at the time, like a couple weeks ago, he only had maybe 2,000 followers versus like millions of followers on Twitter. And you just have to, don't let the stats mess with you. I think about when I look at, you know, if you look at some of my videos, they'll have 1,000 or some of 100, right? And if I looked at it just that way, I would get totally depressed. But I measure myself based on more of the impact those videos are actually delivering. And I look at it based on the emails I get back saying, hey man, I love your content. Like your comment, you said, I love your content, right? And you asked a question for it, right? So that's kind of how I measure, is based on the feedback I get via email or text or comments on the, you know, on the blog or on Facebook and that kind of stuff. I don't worry about the statistics that normal people do. All right? I want you to join the conversation. Make sure you comment and subscribe. Thanks for giving me your most valuable asset, your time.